With the rumoured and very welcome possibility that a GTA 4 remaster might come out this year to tide us over until May 2026, now is as good a time as any to ask, what can GTA 6 learn from GTA 4? And what can GTA 4 teach us about Rockstar's future? Well, bear with me for about 15 minutes and I'll tell you, right? Don't say I'm no good to you. GTA 6 might be Rockstar's most risky proposition to date. I know that sounds insane, and there is no timeline where it doesn't make enough cash to paper over the cracks of a dying industry. But in a world following a high-profile exodus of the firm's top creatives,
Leslie Benzies, president of Rockstar North, has left the company,
leaving Rockstar with a deficit of rockstars, there is a question mark over whether or not this current iteration of the studio can really live up to the absurdly high expectations set by past glories. And I think it can, personally, precisely by doing something that no other GTA game would have dared to. Because while the core gameplay of Grand Theft Auto is always immediately familiar with every new iteration, it has always shown a remarkable willingness to reinvent itself. I was going to do the usual pish about David Bowie and Madonna here, but one of them's Deed and the other one's Madonna. The most obvious example of this is the series' conversion from an arcadey, top-down city simulator to a third-person action-adventure. There is no way that the audience of the PS2 era would have accepted anything less than a fully immersive version of Liberty City, with every carjacking rendered in a retina-searing 3 dimensions. But there was never any guarantee that the vastly inflated development cost that comes with that would have paid off. Well, it did, and GTA 3 put Rockstar firmly on the map, but it is largely credited with birthing the entire open-world action-adventure genre, even though it obviously didn't. There's a 3 right there in the name. And there have been open-world games since long before even the first GTA, but the fact that GTA 3 is considered the progenitor of the modern open-world template, something that directly inspired everything from Simpsons Hit and Run to Assassin's Creed and all of its derivatives, speaks to how groundbreaking it truly was at the time. Before GTA 3, it felt impossible to do GTA's freeform crime simulation with that level of fidelity, in a 3D world, with a free camera, in a big, sprawling city full of pedestrians, traffic, gangs, police, rubbish billowing in the wind. It felt impossible, and then they did it, inventing the modern video game in the process. And then, only 7 years later, it felt impossible for GTA 4 to live up to that legacy. I mean, how could it? Was there anything left to invent? Not necessarily, but GTA 4 dared to be a different kind of GTA, to do things that none of its copycats and rivals or even predecessors would have ever managed to get past a pitch meeting.
Perhaps here, things will be different.
This dour, almost melancholy dismantling of American exceptionalism as experienced through the avatar of an Eastern European immigrant that needs to be sold to Americans. And not only that, but we've made the driving model realistic to the point where most of the cars in the game perceptibly struggle to climb hills. We've put in this sophisticated new physics engine and dialed it up to the point where the player character has the weight and sluggishness of an actual human being. This is breaking so many fundamental rules of game design. The orthodox idea is that you cut as much animation as you possibly can to get a balance between realistic movement and snappy responses to a player's inputs. And it's different for every game, but somewhere between those two considerations, there's a satisfying sweet spot that makes a game fun to control. GTA 4 doesn't care about that. GTA 4 wants you to feel the gravity of its world with every interaction. It wants you to feel weighed down, literally and figuratively. So every one of Nico's triumphs feels like getting one over the system. Can you imagine the Saints Row people pitching that and not getting laughed out of the room? But Rockstar North, after a solid run of every game they released in the 2000s being indisputably one of the best games of all time ever, had a surplus of goodwill with the gaming public and boardroom executives alike. So by the time GTA 4 rolled around, they could basically do whatever they wanted. The result? GTA 4 is a massive critical and commercial success, cementing the series as Scotland's most enduring and beloved cultural export outside of, train spotting, Presbyterianism, and tweets that English people find funny. Although, to be fair, that one is funny. And of those, it's the only one that lets you steal cars and shoot guns, or indeed, steal guns and shoot cars, which means it's good. But perhaps GTA 4's biggest achievement is in the way it completely changed our expectations of Rockstar as a creative force. This was a game with real production values, directly inspired by the grimy East Coast crime sagas of The Sopranos and The Wire, both of which enjoyed the height of their success during the most formative years of GTA 4's development.
It's America, man.
And finished around the same time that the game actually released, to an audience that had grown up playing Grand Theft Auto, but also now, crucially, much like its creators, had spent the previous decade watching a lot of HBO, or at the very least being hyper aware of it through cultural osmosis. And that situation is extremely difficult to engineer because of simply how long video games take to make, which is a problem that has only gotten exponentially worse since 2008, but sometimes there is a perfect synchronization of Zeitgeist and a video game to ride it. And GTA 4 is one of those, not just from the HBO angle, but also, fortuitously for Rockstar, but not for anyone with a mortgage, the game came out right at the most biting point of the 2008 financial crisis that we now call the Great Recession. I don't know why, it wasn't that great. Bringing the reality of our world that much closer to the decline and decay depicted in the game, that sense of living at the squalid and forgotten end of an empire on the wane. As a British person, I can tell you a lot about that. So it was a perfect storm. GTA 4 couldn't have come at a better time for GTA 4. Does that make it the best GTA? No, but does it stack the deck very nicely in Rockstar's favour to have the risks they took with it pay off massively? Yes. Obviously, that's what I'm getting at. And I honestly do think it was a risky game. It probably wasn't ever in danger of selling poorly, but GTA 4's success is crucial for Red Dead Redemption, and it's crucial for the runaway success of GTA 5. It was never a given that audiences would respond well to Rockstar pivoting in a more serious and grounded direction. And let's not forget, not everyone was on board, which allowed rival series Saints Row to sell itself as the sort of true heir to the PS2 era GTAs. Wacky races for reprobates where you could still fly around on a jet bike and beat people to death with a big purple dildo. And I think the fact that Saints Row did pretty well out of that for a number of years shows that Rockstar weren't taking everyone with them on their new dramatic journey. One which, let's not forget, leads us to an entire Red Dead Redemption prequel in which we spend 2/3 of the game dying of tuberculosis, utterly jettisoning the concept of escapism along with purple dildos and jetpacks. I would hesitate to say that this was a complete change of direction for Rockstar. The series had always been moving in a more grounded direction from the revenge and cocaine-fueled power fantasies that led to San Andreas, a game which, inspired by the hip-hop culture of the early 90s, laid a lot of the groundwork for GTA 4's human drama while still featuring a lot of the daft stuff. And it's not like GTA 4 itself was without a sense of humour or devoid of the outlandish. It is still fundamentally GTA, still a slapstick crime caper full of knob gags set to an expensive soundtrack. You can even argue that it's the most refined and distilled GTA of them all, given that it is a scathing takedown of the American dream told from the perspective of an outsider. This very British product that expresses the innate fascination we have with America and these islands, a fascination that is often morbid or baffled, but sometimes out of admiration as well, more than most of us would like to admit. We are, after all, ravenous consumers of American culture. It dominates our cinemas, our TV schedules, our shopping malls and our food courts. And of course, it's this consumerism that's GTA 5's major target, set as it is in a pastiche of Hollywood. GTA 4 dismantles the American dream, GTA 5 points a bazooka at America's dream factory. Its superficialness, its vapidity. What's GTA 6 gonna put in its crosshairs? All of the above. The fictional state of Leonida, obviously GTA's version of Florida, has California's IQ-sapping sunshine and New York's status as a nexus for overseas immigration. Vice City, like Liberty City, is a vast East Coast metropolis with a steady flow of incoming people traffic, and north of the real Miami lies northern Florida, which is part of the Deep South, a significant corner of the infamous Bible Belt. Florida is a swing state where the two Americas jostle for control of the whole thing, where milquetoast, let-them-eat-cake coastal liberalism butts up against evangelical anti-intellectualism. And frankly, it's Alien versus Predator. Whoever wins, everyone's These are the battlegrounds that, as a satirical work, GTA 6 finds itself wading into. It's fertile ground, but also fraught with danger. The world has never been more polarised than it is now, certainly not in my lifetime, and whatever GTA 6 does, it's going to a lot of people off. The woke, the anti-woke, your wee brother, your mum, they're all going to find reasons to hate this thing. And that's before we even mention the fact that GTA 6 is a love story. An actual, genuine love story, not something with a few perfunctory girlfriends that CJ or Nico get to bang if they press the right buttons. Not a loveless triangle of junkies, put there as a convenient way to have Trevor kill Johnny Klebitz and find himself at war with the Lost Biker Gang. None of that. A passionate Bonnie and Clyde love story between the dual protagonists, in which Lucia, Rockstar's first non-optional female protagonist, is a rounded character with real agency. This is unploughed ground for Grand Theft Auto, and given how much of its audience are in no danger of ploughing anyone, it might be the jumping off point for a lot of people. But the lesson GTA 6 will carry forward from GTA 4 is to tell its story without compromise. To leverage all the goodwill and trust that Rockstar has spent the best part of 3 decades amassing, that gives it the opportunity to once again redefine the open world action adventure on its own terms, and invite the audience to either come along for the ride or not. And GTA will succeed because its uncompromised vision and authenticity is, in any era, a breath of fresh air, but especially when coupled with an infinite budget. That combination never happens. I mean, what other studio is remotely close to that ideal now? It's just Rockstar and Kojima Productions, right? That's it. And that's the future of cutting-edge single-player gaming, I'm afraid. Indies that bankrupt their creators and the occasional mega-budget runaway success from a legacy name. F***ing bleak, innit? But GTA 6 looks rad, so I'm fine with it, personally.